Today, we're going to dig into some of the most mind-bending technology you can imagine. And we're going to do it using a source that's completely out in the open, the United States Patent Office. We are deconstructing the actual declassified patents that seem to describe the unbelievable systems of the legendary TR-3B.
Okay, so let's get into this. You got to think of the Patent Office as this giant public library. I mean, it's got the blueprints for your phone, your car, everything. But it also holds the plans for some technologies that are, let's just say, a little more exotic. And that really brings us right to the heart of it. What if this public library, hiding right there in plain sight, holds the literal engineering diagrams for a craft that seems to just shatter the laws of physics as we know them? Let's take a look at the patents. So our first stop is maybe the biggest problem of them all. How do you even keep the crew alive inside this thing? No, really, think about this for a second. The TR-3B is supposedly powered by this compact nuclear reactor that's kicking out gigawatts of power. The radiation would kill you instantly. You can't just wrap the thing in tons of lead because then it would be too heavy to fly. So how on earth do they solve this? Well, the first piece of the puzzle shows up in patents from companies like Boeing. It describes what they call an active shield. For you and me, that's a force field. And this is not science fiction. This is a patented system that generates a powerful electromagnetic bubble around the cockpit to literally push away dangerous charged particles. Okay, but here's the huge catch. A magnetic field, I don't care how strong it is, does absolutely nothing to radiation that doesn't have an electrical charge. So things like gamma rays and neutrons, they would sail right through that force field like it wasn't even there. And this is where the second system comes into play, the shadow shield. It is such a clever, elegant solution. Instead of trying to armor the entire craft, the patents lay out a plan for a single, incredibly dense, but small physical disk, and they place it directly between that reactor and the crew. The material science they describe is just fascinating. We're talking about patents from the Air Force and the Navy here. They describe a multi-layer setup. You've got one layer of super dense depleted uranium or tungsten to stop the gamma rays, and it's bonded to another layer of boron carbide plastic that basically acts like a sponge, just soaking up all those deadly neutrons. So you see, it's this brilliant 1-2 punch. The force field uses energy to deflect the charged stuff, while the physical shadow shield uses sheer mass to absorb the neutral stuff. You have to have both, or the crew would never survive their own engine. It's an absolutely terrifying but elegant solution. All right, let's move on to the next impossible feature. How do you move a 600-foot craft at hypersonic speeds without a single person on the ground ever hearing it? I mean, basic physics tells us that anything breaking the sound barrier creates a massive shockwave, a sonic boom. But witnesses always say these things move in total silence. From a tactical standpoint, that's the dream, right? Speed without any detection. But how is that even remotely possible? The answer, laid out in patents like US 6527221, is this wild concept called Plasma Aerodynamics. Instead of just punching a hole through the atmosphere, the craft uses its ridiculous power to actually change the air in front of it before it even gets there. So here's how this magic trick works. First, the craft shoots this powerful electromagnetic field out ahead of it. Second, that field is so intense it actually rips electrons off the air molecules, creating this glowing bubble of plasma. And third, and this is the genius part, because plasma is electrically conductive, the craft can then use its own magnetic fields to just electronically part the plasma, like the bow of a ship parting water. This quote from the source material just sums it up perfectly. The air is gently moved around the hall instead of being smashed out of the way by it. The shockwave, the sonic boom, it never even gets a chance to form. The craft isn't breaking the sound barrier. It's using a physics cheat code to just slip right through it. Okay, so it's protected from its own engine, and it moves without a sound. But how does it hide? The next set of patents detail what is basically the ultimate invisibility cloak. See, real stealth isn't just being hard to see on a radar screen. It's about full-spectrum invisibility. It means you have to defeat the most advanced electronic sensors and the good old human eye at the same time, day or night. And the patents reveal, once again, a two-layer approach. There's one system designed just for radar and a completely separate system to handle visible light. The radar solution, which you can find in a Lockheed patent, is just brilliant. It's called active radar cancellation. The best way to think about it is like noise-canceling headphones, but for radar. The skin of the craft detects an incoming radar wave, and in that same instant, it broadcasts back an anti-wave that is perfectly out of phase. The two waves hit each other, cancel each other out, and poof. To the radar operator, there's absolutely nothing there.
Now, for making it invisible to your eyes, a Boeing patent describes something straight out of science fiction, a chameleon-like skin made of electrochromic polymers. You have sensors on the craft that are constantly reading the color and the light of the sky behind it, and a computer tells the skin on the front to project that exact same image. So if you're on the ground looking up, it literally looks like a hole punched in the sky. So far, pretty much everything has been defensive. Shields, stealth, but the patent record also points to an incredible offensive ability, creating solid-looking illusions right out of thin air.
According to a fairly recent Boeing patent, the craft can focus these super powerful, rapid pulsing lasers to a single point in the sky, maybe miles away. The energy dump is so intense that it causes the air itself to literally tear apart and erupt into this glowing, three-dimensional ball of superheated plasma.
And the tactical genius of this is just huge. These plasma balls, they're not just a light show. They are hot, so they pop up on infrared, and because they're made of plasma, they reflect radio waves, meaning they show up as a solid target on enemy radar. It's the perfect decoy. You can create a phantom UFO that fools a pilot's eyes and all of their advanced sensors. So let's just take a breath and recap what we've seen in the public record. The patents for active force fields, silent plasma flight, radar-erasing cloaking devices, chameleon skin, and offensive holograms. They are all filed by major defense contractors like Boeing and Lockheed, and they are all just sitting there for anyone to find. And really, that brings us to the final thought. The engineering blueprints for technologies that most of us would write off as pure science fiction, they're real. They're patented. You can go look them up yourself. It just makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other secrets are just hiding out there in plain sight, waiting for someone to connect the dots?